Hello everyone, this is Inayat Meet. I'm going to show you implementation of the DNS, which is installation and creation records and configuration. And also I'm going to show you my setup, and this is my email address and my contact if you want to have a PDF lab and you want to get it, so you can get. You see here objective and scenario. I would suggest that just pause the video, look at the objectives, look at the scenario, and look at what we are going to perform in this lab. On the right side I have my machines. DC1 is a domain controller, and you can see from the middle as well, and SVR1 is a member server, and CL1 is a client computer. This is a cloud environment, so I have these servers set up and running, so I can log in through my password. Right, the password is given to you on the top right side under my username. So this is the password I'm using. If you are going to follow along, and you can use the same password. So I'm logged in right now to the DC, and because these are virtual machines, I just want to make sure the connectivity. So I'm going to enable and disable network cards just to make sure that connectivity is good. So you can use several ways to go into your network card. I usually go and use command line and use N as in NCP as in and C as in Charlie, PA.CPL, or you can simply go to control panel and get this Ethernet icon, or you can go to your local servers and get the TCP/IP icon, right, and clicking on the IP address. So here I'm going to disable and enable my Ethernet card just to make sure the connectivity. So now I see that my domain name is datum.com. I am connected. Then I go into my SVR1. It is another member server. Do the same on SVR1 as well. So again I log in using my admin account. So I am logging in as a domain administrator. And you can go into local servers if you want to disable your or enable your network card, or you can go to control panel, or you can go to your network properties, and you can do the same as I did for my LON-DC1. DC1 was my domain controller, and this SVR1 is a member server right now, but later on you will see that we will promote this as a domain controller as well. So we are working on these three computers only, 2 servers and 1 client computer. Now I'm going to add a role and features actually on LON-SVR1. So what first thing we are going to do here, we need to add on LON-SVR1 domain binaries, Active Directory binaries, ADDS or Active Directory Domain Services binaries. So we are going to promote this as a domain controller as well, and we used to have this DC promo. We're not using anymore in 2012, but we are going to add binaries first, and then you can run another widget, and that widget will promote this server as a domain controller. So in installation part, if you do it at your end, it might take some time, few minutes. For my end, because I want to keep it quick and fast, so I just paused the video, installed it, and I'm done. I'm going to close it now. So follow along with the steps what you see at the bottom of this screen. You can follow that. I can provide you separate steps for this lab. If you got 3 computers, 1 client and 1 domain controller and 1 member server, you can do exactly what I am doing here and showing you. So now I'm going to promote this server as a domain controller. This is my ADDS binaries right now. On the left side you can see from more option, you can look at the small underline option which says promote this server to a domain controller. So that is another way to promote it. There are many other ways too. You have seen already possibly in my previous videos where I was showing my group policy and domain controllers stuff. This is a domain controller to an existing domain, and that is a datum.com is my existing domain. and I will have this domain name system, DNS and global catalog server available by default. Now this is up to you if you want to keep your DC as a global catalog server or as a domain name system like a DNS server. You can. If you don't want to keep it, you can uncheck whatever you want to uncheck. So because I'm going to add DNS in later on in my this video, so I'm going to uncheck my DNS option. So I am actually running as a backup domain controller with a global catalog server selected option. And when you see any domain controller, there's only one domain controller, so it will automatically become a backup domain controller of my existing domain. And you see install from media option. I have a separate video also for that. So you can actually make your blob file for installation of domain controller through a media IFM install from media. Here you are okay, you are good to go, you meet all prerequisites for this domain promotion. So you can see step by step so what is being checked at this time. Group policy management console needs to be installed, that has to be, and then you have a replication, then you got your DNS installation, gonna take a while actually, then you're gonna have a database files. Once it's done, and again in real life you will see this is going a little bit slow and you will need to spend more minutes than I am spending here. Then it will automatically reboot, or if you don't want auto reboot, simply click on close button, it will reboot, and this will become a domain controller. So now we have a LON-DC1, then we have an SVR1, LON-SVR1. So we have a root domain and we have a backup domain controller. So we have now a backup. So now from LON-SVR1 I am logging into my datum domain. This is my DC1 on the top. And you can see here DC1 contains DNS, and that is a DNS. DNS is available there because DC1 is a domain controller and that is a datum domain. And here you can see the binding orders, what of the network cards I'm using, or interface is my IPv4 and IPv6, and also my IP address on my DC. That IP is actually my preferred DNS on my other client computers. So once you have a DNS running, so you can use that DNS through dynamically or through the statically. And on my client computers, my DNS is actually a preferred DNS is from LON-DC1, and I'm showing you my root hints and forwarders. If there is any forwarder, you can see here. If you don't have it, you can add them. Just review. This is just a review, so you're looking at a review only, that what is where. And this is my DNS console. You can close this DNS console and you launch the PowerShell. So from the PowerShell you also can review your DNS, root hints or forwarders if there is any. Just all you got to do, type the command, hit enter, and you will see it. Same root hints what you have seen before through the GUI way. So this is the forwarder. There's no IP address available there, so you don't see anything right now. Now this is my client PC at the bottom, the third one to your right side. So I'm going to log in. Let's go back to the server. So this server is not a DNS server at this time, as you saw that when I was running my ADDS binaries and when I was installing DC, I did not add DNS because I wanted to have this separately based on the requirement of this lab. So I'm adding DNS on LON-SVR1. This is the only server I have in this server group right now. So I'm on it. So you also can add remotely your DNS into other server, but you have to add that server into your server's group. So here I'm adding my DNS with required features. It is as simple as you see here. You have to just follow the wizard and you click on install, and installation will take a few minutes, a while, maybe a minute, 2 or 2 minutes maybe, or less than that. But you will see here mine could be quicker than yours. So now this LON-SVR1 server is a domain controller. I would again suggest pause the video, read the scenario, what was done, and then read the next exercise scenario, what we are going to perform, what we are going to do now. So these are the few steps what you are going to go and do it on this DNS server. So just for your review again, I gave you a few seconds here so you can read it. So in case if you still wanna stay on, so just pause the video and take a look on that one. Now first time I'm going into my DNS server, and this DNS forward lookup zone has nothing in it because this is a new DNS on LON-SVR1. If you go into my DC one, you will see all other records as well, but we will see how we're gonna replicate. So I'm going to show you. Here we are going to replicate all records from DNS server, which is DC1 to SVR1 DNS server. This is my Active Directory sites and services. By default, whenever you have your domain controller, very first time you will see default first site automatically created. It is known as a default first site, and that is where you got your servers. And here you can do a replication, manual replication. So it will take a while for replicating between these two servers. But from your end, you might have to wait from 7 to 8 minutes, because I'm going to pause the video until this replication is completed. Then I will come back, and this way you can figure out. So don't get confused if you got this error message. So wait a while, then test again, then you check it, and at this time it should work because it took me about 7 to 8 minutes. So I'm adding this note here on the right side, and now from both ends I'm good to go. Okay, so if you don't get replicated and if you see an error message, just don't panic. Just keep moving or keep waiting, and go grab a cup of coffee and come back and then do it again, because that's how the server environment is. So we are good here. Okay, I'm going back to my DNS console. My forward lookup zone has the records of now from my DC1, and if you see msdcs.adatum.com, that is my root domain. That is my first domain in this forest. So DC1, LON-DC1 is my first domain in this forest, and this is a root domain, and root domain name is always after msdcs appears. Now we will see how replication works, because whenever you have some records in one server in a zone, you're supposed to get those records replicated into the other server. Going back to my LON-DC1, and we have a zone here which is my domain name or my Active Directory name, and we are going to create another zone, a new zone. And I don't want to integrate this zone into Active Directory, so I want to leave it under my system root. So this zone file will reside under my system root, system32 and DNS directory, not into my active directory. And the name should be whatever you want to, but I'm going to add as lab requires contaso.com. And this is the zone file which I'm talking that this will reside under your system root, system32. You can later on update dynamic updates options from the console itself. Now you got your another zone, contaso.com. This zone supposed to be replicated also in LONSVR1, the other server as well. Maybe not now, but in a while I'm going to add a new record, a host record, that is a www with the IP of 172.16.0.100. You can straight add a record from the same screen, or you can close and open again. If you want to add a second record, you can add it. But we just added one record, www, under our new zone. On LONSVR1, we are back here onto the PowerShell window. I zoomed in for you to take a good look. So you're gonna use this command, get dash DNS client, where you're gonna see your Ethernet, ISATAP, loopback, all index numbers. So our index for Ethernet is 13. So just note the index number. So I'm zooming in just to have this screen closed so you can see. So now you have to put the index number. And the server is supposed to be the loopback address. So you are going to add this command, resolve-dns name www.contaso.com. You want to see that some result is resolved with IP address. If it doesn't work right now, you might need a little more time for replication, or you can force a manual replication. And you are going to run bunch of commands at the end for testing purposes as well. So if you see any error, you might expect that. Your NS lookup should show you a local host, which you are seeing right now. This is a utility which we use for troubleshooting DNS and look at the connectivity with the DNS. So you have to enter after each command as you are looking at right now, and you are matching the text what you see on the screen with the idea box. So far everything looks good. So you also can set forwarder through the command line or through the PowerShell. So I'm using a PowerShell for the forwarder. And you have seen it before. There was no forwarder before on DC1, or I'm not sure if I have checked in LON-SVR1, but there is none as of now, but you will see now once you go through this. So that's why I said that you need a PDF, and let me know that I'm zooming in, and that will eliminate the steps at the bottom of this screen. But I will zoom back shortly and you will see all of those steps again. But PDF contains all steps. These are very common commands to stop and start DNS service. And once you stop and start the DNS server service and you had a forwarder, then you will see a different result. Okay, so now we have this NS lookup with a contoso.com. Now we are resolving this localhost, and you see the IP address because we have added the forwarder. So this part is completed. Just pause the screen, take a look, all of those steps what we have performed. Go back, review it again if you want to, and continue. And now we are going to perform few more steps. So client is going to use now my LON-SVR1 as a DNS server. It was using before as a preferred DNS server, LON-DC1, which was 172.16.0.10. But we're going to change that one. So this is my client computer where I went before and logged in. When you have your own environment, you always can customize it. So this is my customization, and I'm also follow along with the steps what we have here. In this way, when you follow along with me, you have to have these steps available, or at least you can read and follow exactly the way I'm doing right now. Again, I told you, you have multiple ways to go into your network card. And this is a long way to go into the network card, so I would always use a command ncpa.cpl quick, or you have some other ways to go as well. So preferred DNS was 10 before. Now I'm going to change 11 because 11 is an IP address of my LON-SVR1. So now I'm using this server's DNS as a preferred DNS. Statically, again I said that you can use a DHCP server where you can add option number 006 for DNS or option number 15 for DNS name suffix or domain name, and you also can use option number 003 for router if you want to assign a DHCP server, a router from a DHCP server. Now you are going back here looking at the DNS console on DC1 and adding new records. Same records, the name is www with a 172.16.0.200 IP address. A second record. Again I said you can add right away multiple records in the same screen without clicking on done button, or you can keep adding. If you click on close button, you have to come back and add again. So I'm adding this FTP record for IP 172.16.0.201. Once you click on OK, and you can add another record if you want to, but you are not adding it. So here you are just simply clicking on the done button. I'm going back to my LON-SVR1 under my DNS. And we are going to add records. We are going to verify the records here. So far you don't see it. So what you do here, you can stop and start DNS server services to refresh it, or you can close the console and open the console. We still don't see the record. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna refresh it actually through and start the services. Now I see it. Okay, so I went into LON-SVR1 and I stopped the DNS service and started the DNS service. LON-CL1 client computer. Now we will see that what IPs we can resolve through the command line. After rebooting, of course, we have to reboot in order to have my DNS working. So I'm going to log in back. When I was rebooting, I paused the computer. So now you go back into LON-CL1 as an administrator and go to command line and verify the connectivity, and we are going to verify the DNS resolution. We will ping FTP or www or whatever records we had actually. So we want to see that we should be able to resolve those. We are using here at CL1 actually those DNS. So I'm going to ping first www, and I should resolve this IP 20200, and I did. Okay, we don't have to have replies actually. We don't have to receive 4 replies, but at least we can resolve through IP what we are intending. So that is the record what we have in our DNS. Okay, we also got this record 172.16.0.21. So we have resolved this as well. So far everything looks good. Okay, we resolved this as well. Going back to our LON-DC1 domain controller. We are going to view the www properties, which is our A host record. And we are going to replace this IP address. So when we resolve, we will see this IP address if we want to resolve it. Now I'm going back to my client computer. And now we are going to ping, and we will see that we still have this actually in cache. So we will still gonna be receiving old IP address, which was 172.16.0.100 until we flush the DNS. So that is the process actually we are looking at right now. You should do this one as well. So you should have an idea or concept that why we still have the old IP address back, because the reason is that we never flushed the DNS. Even we change the IP address. Now we are going back to L1-SVR1 where we have our www record. When we have advanced features available, that's mean you actually are going to make those hidden containers available. So cache lookup is there now. It wasn't there before because we have to enable advanced features. In the cache, because of that, in the cache we have 172.2.16.0.100 and we can use ipconfig flush DNS command, but we will see the caches here. We can delete this, or if you don't delete it, you go and do flush DNS. So you look at the screen, what we see on the top, you are looking at a resolution. So what you resolved with 0100, what we want to resolve is actually 010. And you see the 010 here as well given to you. L1-DC1 is 010, and those records what we browsed around, you will see it. ipconfig display DNS will display the records what we have in cache. So we will still see 172.16.0.100. That is what it is now being resolved. So this is the reason we have to flush the DNS. Even we change the record. So you saw that in DC1 we changed the record, we changed the IP address, but we are still looking at the old cache in the table. So now you're going to do a clear cache. Say yes to get rid of our records what we had in cache. Let's try again. Okay, we still see 100, but we did not actually flush the DNS as well. So we are going to flush the DNS as well. And then we see the result. After this flush DNS command, we're supposed to be resolving whatever actually is in the DNS record, a host record. So you can use F7 key on the keyboard to look at your history, what you had in the past or what you went through. Now you see 010. So actually we have resolved the issue. So that was the real solution. So we went through all of these commands, all of these steps. So you were given in this lab 122 steps. I went through all steps, and if you want to go through the PDF environment, I can provide you, I can email you that PDF lab. The format of lab what I have is right over here, and I can simply send it to you if you want. And these are all steps what are given to you here. I went through these all steps, and I think that you should be good to go moving forward with these steps if you want to. So I can set up a share because it's too much or too long actually to add back under my description. So in this way, the only way I can do is share in a Dropbox, or I can email you. And if you have any questions regarding this one, at the beginning of this lab you have my email address, and I'm just pointing out here sometimes you don't have an audio, so you don't know exactly what I'm talking about here. So I'm just typing here that all steps are completed successfully, and if you really want these steps I can provide it to you. If you want to email me, at the beginning of this video I actually put my email address there. I'm not sure, but I put also my website as well.